Bow, 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 bow. Whoa, yo, holo, mojo, marketvitals.io.
Here we go.
Trade, Matt Davio, happy short week.
Back-to-back short weeks to start the summer trading sessions, right?
Well, selling may go away. Apparently, that opening June 1st was a nice sale.
So far, again, where we closed, we're at 42, we're 41.99 as we speak. Red for the day on the SPOOs, red for the NASDAQ. Russell, however, up 1% still. So if you want to sell something, you still got room in the Russell. A lot of room.
Lots and lots of room.
Lots of room. So,
it's marketvitals.io is the site. Market Vitals is the stream. Matt Davio and myself, veterans of the trading markets and veterans of the constant barrage of narratives instead of truth, Matt. But before we get to any of that, let's talk sporting. And I did not see it, and you told me that it was a fantastic game. I mean, 17.
Okay. Again, I've watched pretty much every final since 2004. So, not forever, but 17 of the 50 years now. I consider myself a fan. By far the best game I've ever seen in college lacrosse. Both teams loaded offensively. Maryland went out strong 4-2, looking like they were just going to rip them. And then all of a sudden, Virginia went on a 7-goal barrage. And then you're like, holy shit, 9-4 Virginia here in the first half. And there's still half the first half or half the second quarter left. And then Maryland brought it back to 9-8. And then it just continued back and forth the rest of the game. I think they got to 11-11 again. And then Virginia pulled away. Like it was 16-11 at one point. And then they brought it back to 16-15, and then Virginia scored again. But dude, what a game. And then and Maryland had a shot so they won the faceoff. So they scored the 16th goal with 10 seconds left. Win the faceoff. The faceoff guy just goes barreling down, chucks it at the goalie from 5 feet, and the goalie makes an unbelievable head save.
Save!
And that was the game. I was like, oh, and
let me ask you this: is lacrosse? Is it a possession game like soccer or rugby, or when that ticks 0 is the game over?
Yeah, no, it's over. As a matter of fact, the ball, it's not so like in basketball. As long as the shot is released, right, it's good. In lacrosse, the ball has to cross it has to be in the goal before the shot clock expires. Right, if that makes sense.
Right on.
So it's not a buzzer like the NFL. So it's some quirky, but it is a make and take it. So it's not a make and take it. It's a goal and a face off.
Right on.
Right. So if you have a good face off guy, it's a huge advantage for your offense. In this game, it was totally square. It was like 17-17 in the face offs. Wow. So it could have gone in either way. Like they were so evenly matched, so many All-Americans. So, I mean, by the way, you would have loved this, that, the stud who's going to end up winning the 2-hour 10 for Maryland, Bernhardt, senior, last game, came in with 69 goals for the season, finished with 71. He had 2 goals in this game, 2 assists, which was not a bad game, but not a great game. A couple other guys had 3 or 4 for Maryland. But he was a triple option quarterback in Florida. His dad was a really huge, successful football coach, high school coach down in Florida. And I think he was up in New Jersey at some point, but they moved back down. And so this kid, I mean, you watch, you're like, no wonder he's so good at seeing the field. He's a triple option freaking quarterback. I mean, and the way he distributes the ball and can take, bounce off people like a pinball wizard. God, fun to watch these kids. They're such amazing athletes.
All right, Matt.
Fans were going bananas on both sides. I mean, the stands, it was up in Hartford, right? So it's an away game. And the fans traveled. There was tons of UVA, tons of Maryland fans.
Well, yeah, I mean, you said that you saw that the travel numbers for May.
Yeah, for Redmond and locally, we were 20% over 2019 this month in May. Yep.
Yeah. So
So
in the
people
US of A, things are
they're open.
quickly returning to normal, no matter what Lockdown Brown has to say
Well,
about the
and you
situation.
said you talked about the line of traffic you saw coming back from
I should have pulled the phone out and taken the video from Cultus Lake, which is just into the
subtle. You said
Subtle Lake. Yeah, Subtle Lake, just into the mountains, all the way to Sisters. It's got to be 15 miles,
easy. Yeah,
right?
yeah, 10 to 15.
Seriously, bumper to bumper, stop and go, wheels not rolling. One bigger, pickup truck after the next with a giant tow behind trailer.
Fifth wheels all over the place.
It's those things kill me. Don't kill the messenger, but why not just hook a fucking put a latch on your house and just tow your house around,
or just stay at the Marriott, for God's sake.
Let's go camping. That ain't fucking camping. I don't like camping either way, but
you're going. Camping for me is the Motel 6.
All right, Matt, let's get to it. And we're going to circle back to the Pooth Fairy towards the end of the show. Nothing irritates me more than somebody that doesn't pick up their dog shit after their dog. But before we get to that, we're going to talk price discovery. And in the age of euphoria, right? There's euphoria about continuing the narrative as soon as possible. China reports first human case of bird flu strain, H10N3 strain. China flu, bird style. So because, man, I just want to bring this up because they're monitoring this, watching this closely. Because it's important, right? Because they got this bill in Canada, right? It's to cancel the elections. The elections are off because it's unreasonable to ask people to risk their lives to vote during a pandemic.
So dangerous.
And so if the pandemic goes away, what the fuck? We actually have to have an election and people get to decide that Trudeau's an idiot and Ford is an incompetent jerk off. And the people of Canada, as much as they want to be Switzerland, sooner or later, I know a lot of Canadians, and it's starting to bubble to the surface. Their distaste for what has gone on.
Maybe we should send some Texans over to straighten them out.
Maybe we should build a wall. A bigger wall. Anyway, it's interesting, Matt, how it seems to me, if you're looking at this from 10,000 feet, it seems like it's just a narrative build here.
Well, there was also, I think I posted in marketvitals.io this morning, the 20-year running death rates for the UK, right? I don't know if you can bring that one up real quick. I shared it in the room, so you might be able to bring that up. But I think it tells all. I mean, if you're a numbers person, nothing has changed. There wasn't, this, and I had friends that would say to me, just wait for a year to see the total deaths. Then you can, when you're telling me all this is bullshit, you'll back down. I'm like, okay, well, here's the numbers for you. So now what are you going to say? Like that was your argument a year ago. Here we are in June, after March of 2020, and show me those numbers, Bob, because they're fucking straightforward.
Yeah, it is pretty, I can't find it, man. Son of a bitch. Anyway, it just seems interesting now that China has a bird flu.
I have to put it up. Yeah.
It's not a pandemic. It's not, what's the other one? Before pandemic?
Endemic.
Pandemic, endemic.
It's an endemic. It never happened. Here's the thing. This is from the UK. This is their Office for National Statistics from 30 years. I under gave you 20. I said 20, so it was 30 years. 30 years ago, 564,000 people died, and look at the numbers. Pretty much right there. Dropped a little bit, and now 561. Nothing out of the order. This is like the climate people. It's the climate people. Like, what is there anything, when you see these numbers, do you just go, that's the same number across the board? I do.
That would make too much sense. And did you see the man? There was a lot of people that showed up in London for a march to get rid of
Well,
these lockdowns. Unreal.
That's because they all didn't die, Bob.
All right, man. Let's talk price discovery. Enough of the shenanigans. You also shared this inside the network.
Yep, I did.
And we want to look at this a couple different ways. First of all, we're going to look at a few of these individual issues, price discovery around it, what it's saying. But Matt, the import exporter model, right, is severely impacted by more than relative movement of the currency, right? So if the US dollar inflates by 20% or deflates by 20%, that's directly impacting the bottom line of importers and exporters. We've been talking about the dollar a lot. So do you want to start with the dollar and let's make a bull and bear case for the dollar, because that's going to impact importers and exporters. Not only that, if you want to just trade the dollar, we're going to give you our 2 cents on that. DXY, you start, I will follow.
Okay. Not much has changed in the dollar. We're dragging along the bottom, again, the recent bottom, and trading 89.80-ish. The futures down from 93.45. But again, big picture here, we're making, we had that little 2 or 3 month rally into the early part of this year. Now we're testing the bottom. But as you can see, as long as we continue to hold kind of this, level 88, let's go again, 88 for me, as long as 88 holds, nothing really changes here. So we're at 89.81. We're $2 from that level. I think it's a good area still to buy.
And it's very defined, and if it doesn't hold, it looks like the point of control long term is the magnet.
Correct. If 88 goes, then we could slowly still trade down to 80. But none of the, again, still, Bob, none of these are new lows. None of these are new lows.
No, exactly.
So, the sky is falling, or it's darkening, but it's not falling yet. So,
and when you look at that, it can fall a lot more, and it's still not. It's
still bullish. I mean, anything above $80 is bullish still on a weekly chart, right? We're just getting into the meat of the profile. We got out above it, which is a bullish sign, and so this is a natural pullback area where you should be probably acquiring if you're a longer term trader. But again, 88 goes, then 80 comes into the scope, but it doesn't mean the world's still going to end at that point.
No, it doesn't. But even that's what is that, 6% or so?
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I'm a straight up guess here. I mean, that's impactful when you have a
yes, it is clear. Well, and so if that continues that way, you're going to continue to see higher prices in all stocks. Forget about import export. You'll see it in all stocks, and you're seeing it. Here's a weekly chart of international paper, which is on the exporter side of things on that list, right? And this is what's interesting. That's why I want to bring up a import and export. Here's an exporter. They're benefiting from this, right? That stock was, look at that value point, just dinged at 26 here, March of last year on the world is ending news. And now we're back to, basically all-time highs. I mean, it's wild to watch. And then Walmart, let's bring up Walmart and Target just to kind of look at these. Again, these are long-term charts, but the high we saw here at the, again, end of the year, 154, has not been rediscovered. So retail is struggling, which I would suspect, again, with all the stimuli gone from the market again, there's nothing to kind of pump up this lower end retail that's been on a freaking tear, a 3Xer. This used to be a $130 billion company. Now it's a $400 billion market cap. So this is, that's not insignificant. This has had a huge run, Bob, and it's, but again, still overall picture is bullish, and Target, kind of the same thing. I'll just bring up a weekly chart just so you can see these trends are so vivid. This has been going up since, 2017. And again, the pullback that we had there was so tiny. In essence, I mean, we only pulled back.
Yeah, when you look at it now, it looks just like a
normal chart,
minus
right?
Any of the news, right?
So, but this thing, market cap for Target is about 113 billion. So is now at the size that Walmart was a year ago when the pandemic started, when it sold off. So it's interesting because, Target, like you said, is just a mirror of a couple Midwest retailers, Dayton Hudson's, and came together and changed their name, and it's a fine store if you can deal with the kids running underneath all the displays, and it's chaos. But
Oh, unreal. All right,
I'm
Matt.
glad,
Now
I'm glad I don't have to go to Target anymore like I used to with the family and the little kids.
I want to share first the dollar index from a standard deviation modeling. And again, stepped out here to the weekly. And the nuance here for me is that these bands are rolling and falling away, similar to here, similar to here, similar to over here. And, I say it all the time, mind the Mo. The Mo now is 90.25 on the weekly, and it's fallen away. So I fully expect this to go to check out this low here from 4 of January, which was 89.20. But for me, when I look at that seems to me the way the rest of the standard deviation modeling is shaping up to be trying to catch a falling knife. I actually fully expect us to go trade that point of control on your longer term chart. And I will stick with that presumption, assumption, thought process, as long as we can hold this lower momentum level, which is now falling away. Pretty straightforward and simple.
If it breaks 88 too, but yeah.
If it breaks 88, I'm going to say when it breaks 88. Nuance, Matt. Nuance.
Well, this will be the second attempt, I guess, to do it.
I don't know why all right, and then IP, right? International paper?
Yeah.
I just wanted to go to that. And I've never looked at this chart before, ever in my life. And man, has it respected this momentum level all the way up here. That coming in at $62 this week and room out to almost 70 on the collar level. And let's fractal out one more, Matt. Let's go to the monthly. Straight parabolic on the monthly. I don't know why it would take out those highs, but it sure looks like it wants to. Monthly room out to all-time highs, mid to high 70s.
Here's the thing. This is a good, this has always been a good stock for the dividend, lovers. And currently, even at these high prices, right? Stock prices go up, dividends usually go down in yield. So usually you want the higher dividend stocks because they don't really go up. They just kind of stay there and pay you, right? It's a coupon. And even at these lofty levels, international paper is paying 3.25%.
Holy shit. I mean, that's almost better than the Mexican banks.
So I would, here's one where, maybe you buy the stock and you just box it in with puts and you collect a higher dividend as the stock falls and you get paid, with the puts. It's not a bad way to, hedge yourself, and you really just get paid on both sides. If the stock goes down, you collect on the puts. If the stock goes up, your puts go down, but your dividend still is coming in regardless. It's going to go lower as the stock goes higher, but you have protection either way, up or down. And you can really just, buy yourself 1,000 shares and buy 10 puts at the same price, at a level, maybe at $75, and you buy the 65 straight out or wherever it's trading, 63.47 right now. Not a bad way to do it on something like that. And then just add to both positions as you go down and neutralize it and collect the dividend.
Yeah, and I think the important thing here to keep in mind then is if you do have a longer term view that the dollar is going to continue to weaken, those exporters are going to benefit from that, and vice versa. If the dollar is going to find a bottom and have a big run to the upside, the importers are going to benefit from that. Pretty straightforward, plain and simple mathematics, Matthew.
Speaking of import exports and crude, there's a lot of news over the weekend. We're now Russia is now our second largest U.S. They are the second largest country that we are importing crude from, behind Canada. And we've added, of course, this weekend we added. I think Iran is now providing us the first oil that we've seen from them in 15 years, even though we supposedly don't like them. Well, Biden likes them. Biden and Kerry, because Kerry's daughter is married to, the royalty over there. So that's a nasty little relationship, but we won't talk about that stuff. But oil hit a new high again today. The crude is, going through the roof, Bob. And
Bring it up, man. Let's talk crude.
Well, it's interesting because it opened up to a new high and then it sold off with the rest of the market, just like the SPOOs and everything else. So again, all assets are one, and we gapped up here to 69, basically just shy of 69. And, we're back to the high that we had on Friday. So still bullish. Like if you want a pullback, here you go. Here's your pullback intraday for the short-term trader. Really, as long as we hold above 66, this looks bullish. And, you look on a daily chart, we'll fractal out some. I knew this was going to do this.
Oh, I love that little rip down to -40. Who doesn't like seeing that?
That's why it looks like that. It's hard to show anymore because it's so crazy. But here you can on just a 2-hour chart. We made a new high. This was a new high for years. I mean, we haven't seen these levels in a long time, Bob. So,
and I think the interesting part of that for me, when I look at it, that is how long can we congest and stay above the meat of that profile? Again, bless you.
Thank you. So yeah, and by the way, since we were recommending, people look at Exxon back in the fall when it was $29, I'll just bring that one up real quick because that's had a just.
It was what was our trade? Exxon Zoom.
Yep, but Exxon on its own has just gone. It's not parabolic, but it's doubled. It's doubled in those 6 months, and it's a pretty amazing move, and you can see it right here. We went from the $30 range we had that first rally, from the March, and then we tested it again. But from that level, and again, I started liking it right around this turn in here, right around, the $30 level, 31, 32, whenever it was. But again, I sold it, Bob. I sold it at 50, and now it's sitting there at 64. I didn't think oil would go this high. But it continues to go. And again, we can trade up to 80. That's the profile here on a weekly chart. It's definitely, again, just got back into the meat of the profile at 47. So pullbacks, if you got them, 47 would be a good area to buy. A good area to sell, it looks to me like $80. Otherwise, with the policies that are in place, this is not going to go the other way right now.
It sure doesn't seem that way.
I don't see
and not only that, I mean, the longer arc of the world reopening, no matter what Canada wants to do, and no matter the narrative about the next bird flu.
Well, even the UK, who was talking very openly and vividly about vaccine passports, dropped that shit over the weekend because of what was happening in the streets. People are like, "Fuck off! We're not going to put up with that shit. I don't need a vaccine passport." My retort to anybody who asks me for papers is, let me see your STD papers, motherfucker. You're cooking my food. I want to make sure you're clean. I mean, why doesn't a restaurant have to post that? I mean, give me a break.
All right, Matt, getting back to civic responsibility. I want to bring this one up. I saw this I was brought back down memory lane. Two things, Matt. I used to rock a serious handlebar mustache, and walking the dogs and watching people not pick up it's not bad here in Bend. I will agree with you, but I still see the randos, are like, are you fucking kidding me? Clean up after your dog.
It's the Portlanders probably that, are complaining about,
Anyway, we made this graphic years ago. The Pooth Fairy. Wouldn't it be great if you could just magically pick up their dog shit that they don't pick up and put it under their pillow? What's under your pillow? This is going to be available, Matt, if you folks want to have some yard art that maybe dissuades your passerbys with their pooch to clean up the dog shit. Anyway, I thought I'd bring it up here quickly, Matt. All right, Matt.
Well, I got some price discovery when the market heard that news today. Colgate sold off a little bit because of the Pooth Fairy. Colgate has sold off has had a pretty nasty day from 85, major reversal. I mean, for this stock, this is a telling move. So I'm gonna say that the Pooth Fairy once again has struck, and we've made the week high and low today with Colgate, and it's purely attributed. The headline should be Pooth Fairy attacks again Colgate.
Oh, I love it. I love it. All right, Matt, going to be a hot one today.
We're playing tennis today for sure. I love playing when it's hot.
Yeah, let's sweat it up for sure. Please visit us at marketvitals.io. Get an added layer of discipline and at least somebody willing to share their opinion on risk and reward, Matt. The only important thing, we had a nice interaction today inside the group talking about, these paid for services. And some people want a lot of money. And every time I see it, Matt, I think the same thing. Like, believe me, when I have a bulletproof guaranteed trading methodology, there's no chance I'm selling it to anybody for anything. So when I look at a lot of the supposed trader information out there, at the end of the day, for sure you need some skill sets and you need to learn about market mechanics. You need to learn about risk and reward and leverage, things like that. But I see this over and over again where people are pitching a can't miss or an undeniable trading system. Like, you would never sell it. Who would give the information out if you were just printing money? Oh, this is great. I feel so great about making all this money. I want to share it with the world. Shut up. It ain't happening.
For $19.99 a month. There's no holy grail, Bob. We talk about it all the time. There's no, there's no substitute for time in front of a screen, time in the pits, time with the markets to understand the mechanics. I mean, I can't slow that down for anybody. It literally is going to take you time, and you're not going to be able to. I fully don't believe. I do believe that there's large money that can trade quant strategies in short-term nature, but it takes big money. And
well, not only that, it takes big money, and it takes the hardware, the architecture.
The whole thing takes big money, and it's a big operation, and it takes programmers, and it takes things. The regular guy, I fully disagree. You cannot automate most things trading. So that's just me.
All right, Matt, before we go, let's talk just a little bit of crypto and talk Bitcoin, because we saw another weekend of a little bit up and everybody getting on their high horse and chatting and cheering and pumping. Meanwhile,
we started with it was a bloody, open. I mean, they took them down Saturday, right? They didn't turn around until Sunday. And then, again, yesterday. So Sunday, they found the bottom right at, like 5 o'clock on Sunday. And then they took them up that night and then took them down again but now it's just now that we're back to like regular markets and the CME, mini is open again. I swear that thing, that is, I think what the CME is doing, just like they did with the big contract, is it's creating some legitimacy during real market hours, right? You can't just, they can take it up over the weekends like they do because they don't trade. But when the traders come back, they just go sold.
I haven't tried trading it, but I thought we shared inside the network that the micros are traded 24/7. Well, they have the half hour or hour that they're.
Are they? I didn't know that. I didn't know they were.
I think they trade Saturday and Sunday. I'm not 100% sure on it. I wanted to just point this
chart out
here.
I never looked, Bob. It's so new. I haven't looked.
I should. We talk fractals all the time, and today's June 1st, Matt. So all the monthly charts have rolled. And if you aren't fractaling out, for me, at least to the monthly, you're not doing your full.
And you don't need to look at the monthly, but once a month. So this
exactly. But you should look at it and pay attention to it.
Yeah, this is a good time.
And so here it's coming in again here, Matt. Before the weekly momentum level last week was 45,000. Well, now that's the monthly up mo level. It was the weekly down mo level, I think. I don't know. Maybe it was the up mo. Let me, I'm going to go to the weekly in a second now, but look there's two things that I wanted to point out here. Three things, and those are those three middle lines here. Upmo, 45,000, the average on the monthly, 27,000. And more importantly, we talk about this all the time in standard deviation modeling, Matt, a coast to coast. And the full coast to coast would be the upper collar to the lower collar, right? The small coast to coast is one momentum level to the other. And so the lower momentum level on the monthly, 10,930 now. And man, I said this in 2018. I swear to God, I said these exact same things. Please don't kill the messenger. But that's where the level is. We've taken out the up mo. If we go to the down mo, and we can look at it, let's actually stretch this out and look at it. Because when I said it, it was 9,000 and the lower level was 1,800. Well, it took a while, but they got damn close to it.
Right.
And again, so you're seeing it here now. I think when I look at this chart, if this was a 60-minute chart, I'd say, why wouldn't they go trade the average, which is 28,000? And if people really start running for the hills, right, that 10,000 level is a no-brainer.
Right.
If this was a 60-minute chart.
Oh, it'll happen swiftly. Swift.
And let's come into the weekly. And again, that was the momentum level. This week, that momentum level coming in at 43,000. No, wrong. This is the momentum, 38,881. That's when we were talking before the show. I wanted to be patient and sell the $39,000 level. Never really got there. They still could, they still might, and I will still sell it there. First touch, anyway. And the other thing here on the weekly, seeing how far these that lower collar has fallen away. Room now down to 25,000. So that's lining up kind of with the monthly average. And I looking at that too also, Matt, when multiple time frames, multiple methodologies have numbers that line up in the same way. So
yeah, and that 28,000 is also on the profile. It's a significant breakdown level that.
So bring it up, because that's incredibly important when you have multiple methodologies.
And again, I'm looking at a weekly chart just like you were, so we can kind of look at the same time frame. And the weekly, again, we bottomed at 29.9, but this level here, 28. I mean, you can see that right there. That's like there's nothing from 28 really down to 20. To your point, there's this little blip, so it'll start falling. It'll bounce a little bit from 23 maybe, but it'll go 28, 23, bounce to 26. And then reverse back down to high 19s, I bet. That's how it's going to play out. And then we'll get a little bounce, maybe up to the 30s. This is how the market, but this is why profile is great. You need to understand they don't go in straight lines, but if they do, where they're going to stop. Like if the selling just comes on strong, well, then put your buy down here at 9,400. That's the level I want to buy today. I don't want to buy 65. I want to buy 95.
Right on.
Bring it. Come on,
bring it.
Because now all those trap people puked. The selling's exhausted, right? Trap games. So that's a great area. If you can pick up between $5,000 and $9,000, then I'll be joining Cameron and Tyler. Hodl.
So there is a level where you become a Bitcoin maximalist.
Today. It changes every day, but today that's
exactly.
I'm not going to buy that. That's where my bid is today.
No, I am looking for places to sell right now, and will
Correct.
continue to until the narrative changes.
Right. The sell side's where you want to be. I mean, it just traps them and, on these gaps, and it goes down again. You see it here, and each move higher is lower. So we're getting lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, biding time for whatever it is, the dams break in China, Bitcoin's wiped out all over the earth, yada yada. I don't know, who cares? I'm following the chart, and the chart says the Mo you can't fight for sure. The Mo works both ways, to the upside and the downside. When you go parabolic like this mother did, it's going to go down hard. It's just the way it works.
All right, man.
And some other news, we won't talk about the charts, but AMC, GameStop, AMC did a deal over the weekend. Somebody supposedly spent money above the market, and AMC's back up again. But even with that great news, and I'm going to air quotation, great news, nothing has changed. In other words, we didn't make a new high today. So that's a big warning. Even with all this, somebody taking a big $280 million position, which really isn't that big again. So that tells me maybe they're running a short position against it somewhere off their books. It doesn't make sense otherwise. I'm sorry. I saw some analyst from Wedbush that said they obviously know something we don't know, because even if we're full on back to going to movies, the highest this thing has ever done in earnings is like $860 million. And we're not going to get there overnight, Bob. People aren't going back to the movies like first of all, there's no movies coming out. So you got a delay of a year at least before anything even gets made. And, you know, I think people,
Yeah, and we
well,
talked
no,
about
and
it last
I
week.
honestly think like the landscape has changed. People really don't, you know, I think I rarely went to the movies already. Like I rarely did, unless it was like a great concert movie or, you know, I don't see the you know, the Batman movies. I don't care about I don't care. I'm not going to spend money.
Superheroes. They're over fucking rated.
I don't like them. I've never did. Never liked comic books. Yeah.
Give me a break. All right, Matt. You know, I saw a great, I don't know why I just thought of this. Somebody shared in one of my feeds. It's like they're planting seeds. I can't wait to see what the world looks like when this young generation now is 80 plus, still doing bong hits and playing video games in the basement. Are they just going to build houses with basements, like no upper level? That's
they'll probably, you know how they like when like internet Cat 5 first came out, they were pulling wire in new houses and then retroing old houses, right? So maybe they'll build like some big intra bong furnace filter that heats your house along with exhausting it, you know, when you're smoking the big bong, like at those ages. Maybe, you know, maybe that's where the technology is going to, you know, help them out so they can, like you said, be in their basements at 80 and
help me out.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, you have a great day. We'll talk soon.